So, I didn't grow up wanting to be a filmmaker. I grew up wanting to be a costume designer. Working in films was always the plan, but costume was my goal. But when I worked in costume for about three and a half years, I found myself preferring to study filmmaking and explore filmmaking to see if I can do something else. To be honest, I kind of found myself detaching from costume, so that was the reason I wanted to explore something else. Because I am born and brought up in Bombay, eating street food is part of my life. It's something that has been passed down to me by my mom. She's also born and brought up in Bombay, so she also loves her street food, and she grew up in South Bombay, so she had these people who she always went to, like certain stalls that she always went back to, and even now we go back there, to meet the same people. It's this, the next generation has taken over, and it's like it's a cycle basically. So she passed that on to me, and so where we live, he's about 1.5 kilometers away from my house, and so I've grown up eating his food. The first time I went there, I think I was 9 or 10, I think, and since then I've been going there. Earlier it was with my parents, and when I was old enough to go by myself, I went by myself. And he's seen my friends, he's seen me go to school, he's seen me go to college, he's seen me as a working professional, he's seen me grow up basically. And he's a very grandfather sort of a figure, so he'll always chat. Whenever you go to eat with him, he'll ask you, how's your life, what's happening, everything. And it would be like a good interaction of like 15 minutes, and it was nice. So I started going to Mami when I was, I think, 21 years old, and I discovered that Dimensions Mumbai is a category for young filmmakers, and the age bar is 25. You have to be under 25 or 25 to make a film, and there's a 5-minute limit. And as Dimensions Mumbai the theme is Bombay, so you have to make a story about anything to do with Bombay. So this was my personal connect to my own city, and along with that, with my growing interest in documentary, I wanted to explore migration to Bombay, people who migrate to Bombay to make a life, and why do they leave their home and their villages, and why do they come to Bombay? What is it about Bombay that attracts people, and not only attracts people, they even succeed? So and taking the same spirit of this man, and he himself as a human being, his values, everything, why he couldn't make it in Banaras and why he could make it in Bombay. I wanted to try to tell that story, and in doing that, tell Bombay's story. So he seemed like the perfect candidate for this story, for the theme, for Mami, for everything. So yeah, that is the reason why I decided to make a film on him, and I was 25 at the time, so it worked out. So as a part of my research process, I had to go to his house. He lives in Virar, which is about 2 hours away from my house, and his stall is all the way here near my house. So he also has a journey to make from there to here. And as a part of my research, I had to go to his house and see where he lives, his surroundings, meet his family, and I know he has 4 kids and his wife and everything. So I went there, made a trip once, and met with him, sat with him, explained to him about the film. He had a lot of apprehensions because he thought this is an ad film, and he thought he was going to be an extra. It was a very funny conversation how to tell him that the film was about him and not about, he wasn't a part of another film. So that was a very hard conversation to have. He kept thinking, no, I'm going to be an extra. Oh, but what about the rest of the people? Oh, but what else is going to happen? He said, nothing's going to happen. It's just you and me and nobody else. So it took some time to explain that to him. And then so when I met him, I realized that he was a little camera shy. As in, when he became very conscious when the camera was in front of him. He was very guarded, and a protective sort of a cover just like got activated in him. So I realized that I think I should not do a camera interview with him, and I should do a audio interview. Also, in hindsight, that worked out because it was a 5-minute film, and in 5 minutes to have to cut from a talking head to him and his day at work and everything, the cutting back and forth, a lot of time would have gotten spent. And also it was a lot more immersive to have his voiceover go on over just visuals of his day and his life. So it was just a convenience with which I chose to do this, but actually I preferred the treatment that came out of it. And also he spoke a lot easier when it was just a mic, as opposed to looking at a lens, or with me it's very daunting to have to look into a camera and talk to somebody. So I would just sit peacefully on his sofa. Then the day that I interviewed him, and he had a mic plugged, and he just like went on, and he talks a lot, so you just get him going and he would just talk. So the interview was an hour and a half, and to cut from an hour and a half to 5 minutes was difficult. It was not easy. It took a long time, but that was my treatment choice. And the narrative was always going to be his story. It was always going to be his journey from the time that he entered Bombay, and why he came to Bombay, and to present day, like that entire period. That was always going to be the narrative. What I wanted to do was, through his narrative, also through him speaking, was to try to get out something about Bombay and the spirit of Bombay, or what it is about Bombay that is so beneficial to people in the rest of the country, and in very subtle ways, in his own way. He's very poetic in the way he speaks, so very subtle ways that came out. So I managed to sort of touch upon that immigration aspect as well, along with his own story. So that was my line of questioning. Basically, I would start with asking him about his life, and then ask him, oh, but why Bombay? I used to keep like reiterating, but why Bombay, but why Bombay? And that's what he kept coming back to it, why Bombay. And yeah, that's about the narrative. So it was actually a coincidence that a cousin of mine was in this city a few days ago, before I shot this, and so he decided to be a part of it. He's also an art student, so he knows enough about filmmaking. So we decided that we would go to his house. He wakes up at 7 a.m. and preps for the day, so buys vegetables and boils the potatoes and makes the chutneys and all that stuff. So his wife also is a part of helping him and everything. So it was the shoot day that was planned, as it turns out, became a lot about how Bombay starts the day and what all happens during the course of the day, and then how Bombay ends the day. It was very metaphorical of that. So I always knew I wanted to shoot a day in his life, so literally from start to end, from the time that he wakes up to the time that he walks away, which is that final shot when he walks back. And so that was my plan, and the voiceover was going to go over his day, and that's also, it involved bus travel, train travel, a considerable amount of walking. And even at the stall, it required it. He had a crew that helped him install his a cart and all of that stuff. So yeah, it was a day in the life, basically. That was always the plan, a day in the life, and then connected to a larger story. And me as being a Bombayite, as we're called, to me it was very personal, because that's what it takes to live in a city of Bombay. You have to be strong enough to deal with our transport. You have to be strong enough to deal with the rigor of the hours that it takes to do anything in this city, any job. And there's a lot of energy in this city that we don't really, it's not tangible, like it's not something you can see. It's not something you can point to. So it's in these little things that you find the energy of Bombay, and that is what came out through his life. The effort that he put in every single day, waking up at 7 in the morning every single day, and the joy that his job brought him. You would think anybody who would watch a bhel wala, you know, you would think that at some point you get bored of this, you know, you have to move on, do something else, or your kids are old enough and they can you know, take care of you, so you don't have to work so hard. But it was never about that for him, and his was always about, no, I like doing this, I will continue to do it as long as my health and my life allows me to do it, because it gives me joy. It became less about livelihood and more about joy. And that's, I don't know, that is what Bombay is to me. And both my parents are from Bombay, I'm from Bombay, so for us, the spirit of Bombay is work. My mom always tells me this, that, you know, this is the only city that puts work above everything. So that is why we bounce back after any disaster, any calamity. This city bounces back because work is everything. Work is worship. So that was my personal value that I brought in to the film, being from the city. And yeah, I hope that answers the question. It's a very long answer, but yeah. So the one really lucky scene and lucky sequence is a better way to say it, of the film is the montage bit, the 1 minute montage that is there of him making bhel and sev puri and serving his customers. It just so happened that his stall was very worn out, and all the writing on the stall was faded. And he had been telling me that he had called a guy to do it, but the guy was not coming. There was some issue, and, you know, he was just not being able to do it. And I said, okay, you know, he was telling me about it. And my cousin who was shooting with me is an artist, so he told him that, you know, when the shoot is over, you paint my stall for me. And we were really excited. Yeah, okay, he'll paint the stall for him. We were filming that day, and suddenly the guy showed up, the guy who paints the stall, and it was complete coincidence. Like, it was not at all part of the plan. He just showed up and he said, okay, paint my stall. And for me, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, because it shows the growth of something, it shows the building of something. And with the backdrop of him doing his job and this happening, it was, you know, as they say, it was documentary gold pretty much. So yeah, so that's why I decided to make it the centerpiece of the film, where it will be like an ode. It was like an ode to him, you know, like his job, his life, and everything. And also bhel and sev puri are something that Bombay loves as a city. It's something that we really thrive on. Everybody thrives on. So it was like an ode to the city from me. So that's why I decided to have an orchestral piece, which was, you know, so grand, and, you know, bringing out the extraordinary in something so ordinary. That was what the spirit was behind that. And yeah, I literally just got lucky with that guy coming and doing the painting. And then I managed to beautifully, like, you know, end that piece with him sharing what it means to him, like his emotions towards his customers, his relationship with his customers, and how he builds a relationship with his customers. And it's not just about feeding people, it's about relationships and the connection that he feels with his people. So yeah, that 1 minute piece was just like a blessing when that happened. And that is the story behind that. So my journey through filmmaking, I never went to film school. Whatever I learned myself, on the job and by myself. So the experience of making this film was very, very enlightening, because I discovered skills about myself that I didn't even know I had. I discovered skills as a conversationalist, as an interviewer, as an observer of people. And I also learned editing a lot. Like, it was a real masterclass in editing, the music and everything. So I would honestly, the only thing I took back from this is that whenever you have a story, whenever you think that a story is worth telling and you feel connected to it, one must just make it, good or bad. When I entered my film to Mami, I was convinced that I would not get in. It would not be selected, let alone win an award. That was just beyond my imagination. But I was convinced that it wouldn't work, because I didn't I didn't believe that I did a good job. But in hindsight, when I think about it, it was a good job, not because it may have been a technically great film, but because I got the heart of his life correctly, and that was connected to my heart as a filmmaker and as someone from Bombay, from a city that I try to represent. So that was enough. So if you get that right, then a lot of the technical flaws, if there are any, are forgiven, because that you get right. So we spend too much time focusing on the techniques and the getting the science of filmmaking right, whereas the heart of the story is the most important thing. And if you feel you have a story, you must just make it and not worry about standards or quality or anything, because if you get the story right, then it's going to be good. It's going to be good. There's no question about it. That was the biggest learning experience as a 25-year-old filmmaker who was just starting out, and that was the start of my career as a documentary filmmaker. I realized that this is something I want to do, and something I'm good at. So it gave me the courage and the confidence that I needed at that time. And yeah, that's about it.